Sometimes numbers tell stories as well as words. Had you walked into this stadium 50 years ago with me, in my third year of sportscasting, we would have taken our seats in Rush Stadium, which would become Civic Stadium, which would become War Memorial Stadium. The projected cost of this complex was $1 million, a bad guess. Completed, the bill ran to $3 million, but what's a couple of $1 million among friends? The projected seating capacity was 42,000. When the first crowd witnessed the first major event back in 1937, there were 38,000 seats. Another bad guess, but so much for numbers. Words now join statistics to tell the complete story of era number one. It was October 16th that Tulane University pulled out a 7-6 win over Colgate, and Major Enterprise was on its way. The following year, July 2nd and 3rd, the stadium hosted the National AAU Track and Field Meet, which was graced by two great stars, pole vaulter Cornelius Warmerdam and Glenn Cunningham, America's finest miler. Oh yes, and there was a kid, unknown, who won the junior division of the running broad jump. 8 years later, he made history in another sport. He went by the name of Jackie Robinson. That same year, September 16th, a National Football League regular season game was played in this stadium, Philadelphia Eagles against the Pittsburgh Pirates, later to become the Steelers. A great Pittsburgh running back fumbled. The Eagles capitalized and scored the game's first touchdown. The back was known as Whizzer White. For years, he has been acclaimed as Justice Byron White of the United States Supreme Court, and he hasn't fumbled since. The 1940s brought with them the Buffalo Bison's professional team in the All-America Conference. That was in 1946, and you're saying, there goes that Hubbell, making a mistake again, because they were the Bills. The baseball club was the Bisons. But Hub defends himself with the fact. In 1946, they started as the Bisons. In 1947, they wanted their own identity and became the Buffalo Bills, so there. And they were truly an outstanding football team that knew only two coaches in their too brief lifetime, Lowell Red Dawson and Clem Crow, a Notre Dame legend. After 4 great years, the club was victimized at the end of the 1949 season when the conference folded, with the National League absorbing several of the franchises, including the Cleveland Browns, winners of the AAC titles for all of that league's existence. Memories of that team and so many of its players have not diminished. There was George Ratterman, quarterback and sleight-of-hand artist, and a man who is here today. Chet Mutrin, the elusive running back. Al Baldwin, the great receiver from Arkansas. Buckets Hirsch, also here today, not fondly remembered by any opponent with whom he made contact. There was the guard, Abe Gibran, the mountain, who moved as a man. Game of the 4 years was the Bills-Brown clash, September 5th, 1949. Cleveland had won 18 in a row and was favored by 16. Bills led 28-7 at the half. Final score, 28-28. Remember, George? Greatest of all games played in that conference. The 1940s saw stock car racing become tremendously popular, and this lasted into the 50s when high school football plus semi-pro football and some college games were played. But the most memorable of all of the high school games featured a Kensington win over Bennett, 26-8, on October 21st, 1948, when the largest crowd in Buffalo history up to that time watched the game. 50,088 bodies somehow managed to scrunch themselves in for that game. The stadium had the stocks and some football to offer in the 50s, but little else except the promise of what the 60s would bring. But that's another story to behold and to be told shortly.